God does not immediately judge you after birth. There is a possibility, even if you were chosen by God, for you to be a reprobate or disqualified or to be rejected. Before birth, King Solomon was mentioned in the prophecy. He was destined in the prophecy to be the appointed king of God to rule Israel and to build a house for God or the temple. But later, because of the imprudence of Solomon, because of his not being careful, later God considered him as a castaway because the early warning was told to him in 28:9 of the book of 1 Chronicles. Let us read.
And thou, Solomon, my son, know thou the God of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind. For the Lord searcheth all hearts, and understandeth all the imaginations of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever.
Later, Solomon was a castaway. He did not hold to the faith, to the fear, to the reverence, or to the faithful service unto the God of his father. His heart was not found perfect as the heart of his father David. Let us read. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 9 verse 4.
And if thou wilt walk before me, as David thy father walked, in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and wilt keep my statutes and my judgments, then I will establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever, as I promised to David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man upon the throne of Israel.
That was the promise of God to his chosen to be son of King David in the person of Solomon. But later, what happened to Solomon? 11:4 of the book of 1 Kings.
For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
Later in life, Solomon became disobedient. His heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Meaning, even if he was selected or destined by God to be a great king of Israel, but he did not continue his faithfulness unto God, he was later a castaway. As the Lord said, if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. He became a castaway. That's why the Apostle Paul was very clear in reminding the members of the first century Corinth Church of God that says, I pummel my body, in the Revised Standard Version, and subdue it, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified or be a castaway. So, what I'm trying to impart to you, brothers and sisters, is God knows who is going to heaven. You also know who is going to heaven. But at birth, you cannot immediately judge. You have to consider first the following days and years of the life of a man. If he continues obeying God, surely he will go to heaven. After your birth, there is an assurance that you will go to heaven if you are going to follow God's will. But even if you are destined to go to heaven after your birth, but later in life, you lost faith, you transgress the law, like what Solomon did, God knows that you are not going to heaven. You're going to hell. But God does not immediately judge you after birth.